Okay guys, today I'm gonna talk here about half guard, about how I started playing half guard. Many times people ask me, Bernardo, how did you develop your game? How did you start doing half guard and this and that? And it's a good story. So when I started doing Jiu-Jitsu, I always wanted to find a game that worked well for me. I always tried to find like a path, one type of style that would work well for me. So I remember that when I started Jiu-Jitsu, I think the first guard that I started trying to play was a spider guard, because my instructor in my hometown, Ricardo Marques, that was his game. It was all about spider guard, foot in the biceps, this and that. So that was the first game that I tried. And I didn't feel good. I mean, like, I don't know if it's because I'm not very flexible or this and that, but didn't fit on my style, right? I tried to do the spider guard, I was not stretchable, I was not very stretchable, so it was kind of hard for me. So then I started trying butterfly. But butterfly didn't fit on my game as well. It was too much grips, I had to work with too many grips, like I had to grab one hand, and it was tough, didn't work. I was trying to put the hooks, but I think I didn't feel talented enough to play the butterfly. So then I started doing close guard, and I love it. Close guard was my best game ever. I would close the guard, and I would keep my opponent over there. Then I would try to do or that hand or that sweep with the hand on the belt, or kimura, or things like that. If they tried to stand up, I would do that sweep that I grab the ankle here and use the hip to make the person fall. And I loved the close guard. Close guard was like, okay, that's gonna be my game. But then when I started competing, in the end of my yellow belt, I was like, I started jiu-jitsu when I was 14, right? So when I was 15 years, I started competing as a yellow belt, and then I would pull everybody to the close guard. And then I remember that in these little tournaments that I was competing nearby my hometown, I would try to pull close guard, but my opponents had watched some matches of mine, and then when I would try to pull close guard, they would start very low and not let me close the guard. So I would try to pull close guard, but I would end up like in some open guard that was not the close guard. And that would mess my game, because, okay, I wanted to pull close guard, he didn't let me close the guard, what am I gonna do next? So I was like, I gotta figure some game. So then, one day in the class, my first teacher, Ricardo Marques, taught one sweep from half guard. That was a single leg half guard, the one that I use even until nowadays. And then for some reason, I did that position, it was a click for me. I was like, that's my game, that works for me. And I started doing only single leg half guard, single leg half guard, single leg half guard. The one that you grab the lapel underneath the leg and you go for. And that became my game. It was like close guard and half guard. So I had like kind of like two games. But then I realized that it would be way easier to start the match pulling to the half guard than to the close guard. So half guard became my main game. And then from the single leg half guard, at some point stopped working very well because all my opponents knew about it. And then I went to the deep half guard, right? So then I had like the single leg half guard and the deep half guard, right? And then I started playing with the deep half guard a lot. And then like at some point, I was doing the close guard, I was doing the single leg half guard, I was doing the deep half guard, and I tried to understand every single options that could happen in the half guard or in the close guard, right? So I think that's what makes your jiu-jitsu becomes very, very efficient, is when you understand every option that your opponent can do against you, and you have one counter attack for that option. So for example, I was in the deep half guard, then sometimes my opponent would try to get the underhook. And then I would have one answer for his underhook. I would grab the lapel over the underhook and go for the sweep. Sometimes they would try to hold my head. Then I would set up another thing, controlling the lapel, stretching the guy's leg, and this and that. Then when the deep half guard didn't work, because he defended the deep half guard sprawling or this and that, I would go to the single leg half guard. So I think this is what makes jiu-jitsu become very, very efficient, is when you start kind of like thinking ahead. Right, you are always one step ahead of your opponent. He tried to do something, and you have an answer for him right away, and he's on your game. He's on your favorite position. So that's how I started playing half guard. Was always like trying to figure out one style that would work well for me. I'm not pushing anybody here to do half guard, but I really suggest everybody to try to figure out one style. Try to see what matches well with your body type. We have so many techniques in Jiu-Jitsu, we have so many type of guards, so many type of passes. I believe that if you try to learn all of them, it's going to be very hard. So that's how I focus so much on half guard, because once I figured that, okay, half guard works well for me, I'm going to focus on that. And I think that's how life works, right? We see all this good coach saying that you should find your strength and focus on your strength. So if half guard was my strength, why I would focus so much on spider guard? You know, like, doesn't make sense. So that's how I think in Jiu-Jitsu. I try to always find where I'm good at and focus on that thing. I also try to keep open-minded to learn everything, you know. So for example, if I'm in a class and the instructor or my teacher or whatever is teaching this spider guard, I want to learn it. But I want to learn it not because I want to do it, but I want to understand. If someone tries that against me, I know how to deal with that situation. And even though, like, maybe it's gonna happen that I have to do the spider guard, you know, imagine that I found one situation that was a spider guard, so I gotta know at least how to do it, or at least how to bring my opponent to the half guard from the spider guard, you know. So I think those very little connections are very, very important in Jiu-Jitsu. This is what's gonna make your game become very tight, you know, like, you have no gaps for mistakes, you know. So this is like how I learned half guard. And I want to share this with you guys because many times, especially when I'm doing seminars, I see many people that they try to do everything, they try to learn everything, and they end up not very good on it in one thing, you know. And then they go compete or they go train, they get very frustrated. Oh, my jiu-jitsu is not working, this and that. But on my view, it's kind of obvious, you know, like you are trying to do everything. Same thing that if you try to become doctor, engineer, do constructions, become a dentist, it's gonna be hard, you know. Like, you should focus on one thing, you know. That's just my opinion, guys. I don't even know if it's gonna make too much sense what I just said, but that's my opinion. That's how I view Jiu-Jitsu. And anyway, I respect everyone's opinion, you know. Like, I think I always say that Jiu-Jitsu, there is no right or wrong. It's whatever is working for you. That's how I see Jiu-Jitsu. And I think for every rule there are exceptions as well. I see a lot of great competitors that they're good on everything, you know, like they don't have one game. Wherever they fall, wherever position they are, they know how to deal with that and this and that. But it's just not me. And I think it's not the majority of the Jiu-Jitsu players, you know. I think it's a way easier learn process when you focus on one thing and you become the best at that thing than trying to become the greatest on everything, you know, like. And yeah, that's my opinion, guys. I want to share with you guys. I have this channel here with this goal to try to help as many people as possible with my experience during my career and during my teaching journey. And I hope that helps, guys. And guys, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm doing my best here to share with you guys all my tips, everything I have learned on my career, all the experience I got teaching and training and competing. So I hope it helps you guys, and make sure to subscribe here.